Hi everybody! This week's episode was supposed to focus on building up the castle walls, the courtyard, and all the castle buildings around the courtyard. However, most of the way through, I discovered all my building footage thus far was corrupted and unusable. That means the castle went from this to this in the blink of an eye. We've got some catching up to do. I just discovered all the footage I've been recording was lost, so I wanted to jump in and show you guys where I was right now in the build. This is the courtyard for the castle, and of course the little amethyst fountain, because they do honor the amethyst in this area of the lore. Around the courtyard, you're probably going to notice that the gatehouse is done, and the towers are done, and the walls are done, and most of the buildings are done. There is a couple more things left to do. Over here in the corner is one more building. We'll put that building together in a minute, but I also want to show you over here in the middle of the courtyard, I haven't yet finished the statue and fountain that is going to go in this main circle. The rest of the building I had planned to show you guys for this episode is done, which I guess makes things really fast for you guys to see. Let's jump in and finish that last building together. Next up is a quick little fountain build to finish the area. If you're thinking that the episode feels like we've already gotten to the end of the video, that's very astute of you. You see, this is where the original episode was supposed to end, but having lost all of the footage, I think we better come up with something to do a little more, or at least fill in a bit more of the episode. I've been working in this area for a while, so I think it's time we fly off and have a little bit of an adventure, see something new. So I am flying to warmer areas of my map in search of something I don't have already. A sniffer egg, or 2 or 3 would also be nice, but I haven't gone searching for them yet. I know there's a warm ocean with coral and such over by my Badlands, so that is where I'm heading now. And I really know that this is what I want to search for because when I was putting the castle together, I missed having the beautiful flowers from the sniffers. The first structure I got to didn't have any suspicious sand, which was very disappointing, so I had to pop out and searched all the way around the entire warm ocean area that was here, and there weren't any other structures. I took off from the area and started flying to find another area with a warm ocean, and I crossed over the top of this beautiful savanna. When I updated my computer this last time, I downloaded vanilla tweaks, which I always do with a few things. Mostly it just makes my leaves bushy looking, which I really love. But this time I also clicked the box to change the color of the grass in the savanna, and I recommend everyone go do this right now because the savanna is usually a little bit, I don't know, just a little off looking. This setting in vanilla tweaks makes the savanna look rich and beautiful, and all of a sudden I have all these ideas for where I want to go build in the savanna. Anyhow, I continued along. I found a whole bunch of structures. I was still in a cold ocean, but I already had my brush and I thought it would be good to stop and look through things. There were a couple of trident drowned that were trying to get me, so I mostly stayed on top of the structure and was trying to shoot out at them, but it turns out that shooting into the water is, well, it's harder to aim than it looks. This drowned and I had a serious showdown of projectile weapons, and before I knew it, there was an entire stack of the tridents all along the whole edge. It managed to get me a couple of times, but I was good at just mostly getting through, and eventually I was able to hit it and take them down. The problem came when I thought I was done and it was safe, but it turns out there was another trident throwing drowned right below me that hadn't been shooting at me previously, and in the course of trying to reach him and be able to get over the edge, I accidentally slipped into the water, and fortunately for me, I arrived back at spawn and was able to run easily back to my castle where I have an entire extra set of gear now that's completely enchanted and ready to go. So I grabbed everything I thought I was going to need and took back off to get my stuff, which really just wasn't that big of a deal. I switched into chest plate mode instead of the elytra, which makes me so much stronger, and it was pretty easy to just tuck in and take out who I needed to and then collect my stuff. I do, however, think I've discovered the home base for all of the zombie drowned in the world because, oh my goodness, this place was absolutely overwhelmed with them. I lost track of how many there were, but it took a long time just to take care of all the drowned and pick my stuff up. But I didn't have any problems with it at that point. It was mostly just moving around. I giggled a bunch at this point because every time I turned around, there were just drowned everywhere. I got back on track looking for a warm ocean, and I flew over a jungle and saw a jungle temple, which I think is my very first jungle temple in this world. So I had to stop and take a look and see if I could find any interesting treasure. I got super lucky, and in one of the hidden chests, I was able to find a couple copies of the wild trim, which is my first for this trim in the game. Just past the jungle was a huge warm ocean, and there were a ton of structures over here, so I actually spent quite a while going through and looting and using that brush to get all kinds of treasure. It had taken me forever to find an ocean where I could actually dig suspicious sand, but once there, it didn't take very long to find just what I was looking for, and I got my first sniffer egg in one of the structures. And then just right next to it, super close by, I was able to snag my second sniffer egg. All the treasure chests that I looted while I was out had given me 3 different treasure chest maps, which was actually kind of cool. So I thought while I was already out exploring and was very far away from home, I might as well stop and look for them. I collected up the loot from all 3 of the treasure maps, and then I headed back to my castle. I'm back at my castle, which is super great. I enjoy calling this a little bit of my home base. I think it's fun now that I have an entire courtyard, so it's really easy to just land in with my elytra when I get home. I also managed to get so much while I was out. Of course, the sniffer eggs were what I was looking for on my journey, but I have these shulker chests. I can talk, I promise. And they're full of goodies. I've got a lot of work just to get this all put up, but I need to go get some moss so we can put these eggs down. I'm sitting here cleaning up for my adventure, and I'm putting everything into the chest for my auto sorting system. And I have to tell you guys, I really love that I put an auto sorting system together. Times like this, it really pays off. I'm popping into my flower and greenery room to get the moss, just in case you guys didn't know. If you put sniffer eggs on a couple pieces of moss, they will hatch faster. I'm not going to take the time to make pins for these sniffers right now. I'm just putting this moss down here in the yard of my castle, which I already know is completely protected and surrounded by walls. Now that they're down, all you have to do is wait. I think I'm just going to go make myself some dinner. I'll be back in a minute. 2 beautiful sniffers ready to grow up and give me flowers so that I can add some new flowers into my world, which I think is pretty cool because I adore the flowers that come from these sniffers. While I was waiting for the sniffers to grow up and do those beautiful flowers for me, I was trying to heal up my armor and my weapons and my tools, and I had both copies that needed just a little bit of healing. So I was at the zombie spawner and I thought, you know what, I think it's time for one more last project for today. It is about time that I work on an ender. In fact, I've been putting that one off for a while. So I'm going to pull up a tutorial and follow the directions so that we can get a really good source of XP going. I pulled up and followed a tutorial video by Pixel Riffs, and I really like the way this one came out. It's not quite as big as others that I've seen in the past, and it works really well, especially for just me being the only one here in this world. As you can see, I decided to build with a bunch of leaves and with the pink cherry wood, mostly because I've been using so many dark colors with the Tuff, and I just was in the mood for something a little bit brighter. I put my diamond gear on just in case I fell because I didn't want to lose any of my good netherite stuff, and just sort of put together a little bit of an earthy looking green tone build in the middle of the end. This build is definitely not done. I didn't do any of it planned. It was completely on a whim, and I was just in the mood to go off and do something different. So it was sort of fun to just play around with the lighter colors, and it gave me inspiration for what might be a really cool build here in the end later. Until then, I have an ender that's working and giving me all the XP I need to heal up my stuff. That's actually a lot of progress for an episode, and I just intended to do the castle, but here we are. We've got sniffers going, and we've got an ender up and going, and you know what? Progress feels pretty good. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video, and I wish you all the best Minecraft day.